Silent letters are very common in English. Silent letters are letters that aren't pronounced or heard. Like, for example, the word apple. The E at the end is silent, meaning it is pronounced just like A-P-P-L, apple, as if the E wasn't even there. So the E at the end is silent. The silent letters are very common in English if they are vowels, specifically the letter E. But sometimes consonants also can be silent too. And in this video, we will look into those consonants which are silent in the English words. Let's begin by looking at the words which have the silent letter B. Det, doubt, and subtle. Now, in the pronunciation of these three words, the B sound, B, is completely absent. That's because the B is silent. However, there are quite a couple words which have the ending MB, which together make a sort of sound, or sometimes with the extra little B sound. These words have a sort of half-silent B, so not exactly silent, but it's just sort of barely heard. For example, aplomb, bomb, climb, comb, coulomb, crumb, dumb, jam, lamb, limb, succumb, thumb, tomb, and womb. In all of these words, we have the MB ending, which becomes a sort of sound, or where the B, the B sound, isn't as pronounced as normal words like ball or bat. The B sound just isn't as voiced. That's why these words have a sort of half-silent B. Next, let's take a look at the words which have a silent D. Handkerchief, handsome, sandwich, and Wednesday. In all four of these words, the D sound is completely absent because the D is silent. However, just like the letter B, the letter D can also be part of a combination of letters, in this case, D, G, E, which at the end of words becomes the J sound. So here, not only is the D sound not there, it's just completely replaced with the J sound. So that's why I tend to call these words not really silent D, because they're actually being replaced instead of silent. But let's take a look at these 6 words which have this D-G-E combination at the end. Edge, pledge, grudge, hedge, badge, and bridge. All of these words have the D-G-E ending, which means that the D gets replaced with the J sound, along with the G and the E. So the D isn't not just silent, it's completely replaced. Hence why I decided to include those words in this video. Next, let's take a look at the words which have the silent letter G. Light, height, weight, thought, bought, though, sign, assign, consign, design, ensign, resign, align, campaign, benign, malign, reign, foreign, sovereign, Dane, gnarled, gnome, Nash, new or new, gnat, champagne. This is actually a homonym with another word also champagne. Both of these words have a silent G in it, so I thought it would be important to distinguish these two and feature both of them in this video. Next, we have cologne, and then high, then drain, right, diaphragm, and finally paradigm. All of these words have a silent G in them. Now, let's take a look at the words which have the silent K. However, what's interesting is that all of these words have the KN beginning. This prefix, actually gets rid of the K sound. So KN is just pronounced N, like the N sound. I decided to include these because these are different from the type of DGE you saw earlier. The K sound is not replaced, it's only just being removed. And that's why all of these following words with the silent K in it begin with KN. Now, with that out of the way, let's begin. Knack, need, knee, kneel, knickers, knife, night, knit, knob, knock, knot, know, knowledge, and finally, knuckle. All of these words have a silent K in them, and that's because they begin with KN. Now, let's take a look at the words which have a silent letter L. Let's begin. Almond, bomb, calf, calm, chalk, could, folk, half, palm, salmon, should, talk, walk, wood, yoke. Next, we'll take a look at the words which have a silent letter N. Another interesting thing to note about this one is that all of the following words actually end in the MN combo. Much like the KN that we saw earlier, except this time the N is the one which is silent and the M is the one which is pronounced. So let's take a look at these words. All of them have MN at the end of the word. And so let's take a look at these words with the silent letter N. Autumn, bidam. Column, condemn, contemn. Very important distinction to make. Condemn, contemn. Then, dam, dislimb, hymn, limb, and finally, solemn. These words all have a silent letter N because they end in the letters M, N. Next, let's take a look at the words which have the silent letter P. Core, coup, cupboard, pneumonia, psalm, cephalogy, psychiatrist, psychic, psychology, psychotherapy, psychotic, pterodactyl, raspberry, and finally, receipt. All of these words have the silent letter P. Next, let's take a look at the very few words which have a silent letter S. Isle, Arkansas, debris, Illinois, island, and finally, islet. All of these words have the silent letter S in them. Next, let's take a look at the words which have the silent letter T. Apostle, ballet, buffet, bristle, bustle, butcher, castle, Christmas, debut, fasten, glisten, gourmet, hustle, listen, match, moisten, mortgage, nestle, often, soften, rapport, rustle, scratch, thistle, watch, whistle, witch, and finally, wrestle. All of these words have the silent letter T in them. And finally, let's take a look at the words which have a silent letter W. Answer, awry, playwright, sword, two, whole, rack, wrap, rapper, wrath, wreath, wreath. Very important distinction to make between wreath and wreath versus th sound. It's a super important distinction. Then, wreck, wreckage, wren, wrench, wrestling, wretched, wriggle, ring, wrinkle, wrist, wrong, and finally, wrote. All of these words have the silent letter W in it. And all of the words that I've mentioned throughout this video all have a silent consonant letter in them. And that concludes this video on silent letters. Thanks so much for watching. Love you, Akash.